This year's from GQ from February 28th, 2024. I've heard of them before. I thought there was some men's magazine or something like that, but these days there are no men's magazines. These days everything is, pretty watered down, let's just say, for everybody. So anyway, it looks like GQ is kind of siding with this pro Amber podcast, Who Trolled Amber. Let's see what they got. Inside the podcast exposing the Saudi bot army mobilized to take down Amber Heard. So it's real and they're exposing it. One of the biggest actors pretty much in history, been around since the 80s, doesn't have an organic fan base. Also, in other news, the Loch Ness Monster's real, so is the boogeyman under your bed, and it turns out, Santa Claus as well. I just want to say before we start that this person here, Alexi Monstrous, is the person behind the podcast, and he's getting fact checked on X. Gotta love X sometimes. They've got some good things going on, no matter what you think about them. So, readers added context they thought people might want to know. Saudi investment in Hollywood making is well documented and not unique to Mr. Depp. Well, that's one nice community note, and they've got some links there, not just a community note. I didn't know that, and it's nice to know. Looks like from Bloomberg.com they got some info. So it seems like what's happening with Johnny and Saudi is kind of normal with Hollywood, or let's just say big name actors. Alright, now what does GQ have for us? They say the case in Virginia was described as trial by TikTok. By who? No one I see. Not in the media, not really. I mean, could have missed something here and there, but basically it was just covered. I think pretty much pro Amber people and pro Amber fans said that. It was a trial in Virginia. It was very long, a lot of facts came out, a lot of witnesses came out. There was nothing wrong with it. Monstrous claims he obtained a million tweets from Johnny Depp, and one criticism he has is that a lot of these people he calls trolls don't have followings of their own, and they've just got very small accounts. Well, the fact is, Johnny's got tens of millions of followers. When they want to defend Johnny, they make an account, but they're not going to get followers right away. So you can't expect them to have followers. Look, if like a million Johnny fans make a Twitter account tomorrow, they're not going to have followers for a long time. It could take years. It could never happen. So, when the trial came out, they logged in to defend Johnny, but of course they couldn't build followers very fast. Some of them did, some of them didn't. That's just how it goes. There's 350 million people on X, formerly Twitter, and not everyone can follow everyone. Doesn't mean that all those accounts are fake. Yes, some of them are, a small percent. I'm not saying none. I'm not playing zero-sum games. I'm playing common sense games. Monstrous says his aim is to consider not whether the jury was right, but whether the manufactured online hate against Heard could have jeopardized her right to a fair trial, which is a roundabout way of saying that the jury couldn't have got it right or couldn't have judged fair because of social media, which is a roundabout way of questioning whether they got it right. But of course, his questions raise concerns about justice and democracy, because monstrous is important, and these questions are original that no one ever asked before. They've got some questions they set up for themselves to answer, I guess. What was the most surprising thing you learned while making this podcast? And he says the connection between Saudi and Johnny. But let me remind you, someone got fact checked by Bloomberg, and it's kind of a normal thing for Saudi Arabia to support people in Hollywood and big name actors. How about some context, GQ? How about featuring this? I guess not. I guess being fair is a thing of the past for sites like GQ. He then says hundreds of Arabic tweets were deleted. Well, oh my god, like nobody types things in Arabic? Like that's proof of anything? Johnny's got fans in every country. So I'm sure some of them did tweet in Arabic and other languages. Hebrew, Chinese, Japanese, Swedish. They're all there, and a lot of them have been deleted because people delete tweets. They say Saudi Arabia has a history of using bots. Well, I mean, everyone does to a certain extent when you're talking about like a whole country. Like, I guess China's got a history of using bots because the country's so big and some people use bots. I mean, probably Brazil has people who use bots. Every country does. So you said a lot about nothing there, Alex. So the question is, why the fuck would the Saudi regime want to prop up Johnny Depp? And the more you look, the more you realize Johnny and Saudi are intertwined. His latest movies, they're saying, have been financed by Saudi. But we went through this. Fact check from Bloomberg, it's a normal thing. You can see Depp praising Saudi filmmakers at the Red Sea Festival. And most surprisingly, according to a Vanity Fair article from early this month, Mohammed bin Salman, Al Saud, and he have become personal friends because the magazines and websites who are against Johnny happen to have this information conveniently. They say the hate campaign against Amber started with the UK case around then. Once again, I think it was organic. Johnny's got tens of millions of fans over about 4 decades. Obviously, they're going to be pretty irritated, also pretty emotional, all of it. So they're going to put their opinion out there, and they did. Then, of course, they mentioned people wanting to make money off the trial, and that's the old trope about why people took Johnny's side. I will admit, it's one of those cases where, yes, people made money, but Johnny happened to be right. So, that's just how it goes in the world. And then, in so many words, Alexei explains that it's really hard to prove what he's saying. That's convenient, but he's sure of the manipulation. Actually, excuse me, he says he's absolutely sure. Well, I'm absolutely sure you can't prove it, and I'm absolutely sure Johnny's got an organic fan base and one that grew with people like myself. And of course, he says he's scared for the future because things like this can happen, because it definitely happened. All right. Obviously, not reading this word for word, because a lot of it's been said before over the last week or two or something, but I'm pointing out now GQ is jumping on. If you're not subscribed here, consider it. If you don't, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.